Good morning. My name is Megan, as you know, and I just wanted to thank you for taking the time to join me on this call to discuss how COVID has impacted your business in 2020.
Thanks for
So
having me.
it's no problem. Thank you for joining. Like we really just want to get the community involved and just really see how everything has been going for people here at Law Firm Suites. So the easiest question of the day is, can you state your name and your practice area and what
Sure.
law firm you're with?
My name is Amanda Shaffer. I'm an attorney at the Shapiro Law Firm. We practice immigration, family, criminal law.
Okay, great. How would you characterize your practice during the pandemic and how was it doing?
I characterize it as doing well. At first, it was a slow go back in April when everything first shut down. But then I turned to some different means of marketing online. And I think we're going to end up having a better year this year than last year.
That's awesome to hear. As the news started to unfold about the pandemic, at what point did you realize that COVID may have impacted your practice?
We realized that COVID was going to have a major impact back in March because that's when everything shut down. And I actually moved my chair, my office computer, the printer, like all to my apartment. And that's when we knew like this is going to be a while. It's not going to be like business as usual for a long time.
Okay. When did you start coming back into the office?
We started coming back to the office, I think September, kind of a blur. Actually, over the summer, I was coming in towards the second half of the summer. I started coming in twice a week, or sorry, Monday through Wednesday. And then I started coming in twice a week in September. And now I'm back to 4 times a week. I'm just not coming in Fridays.
Okay. When did you start seeing changes and what were they?
What kind of changes do you mean?
Changes in your practice. Like you stated before that you noticed that like you kind of assumed that it was going to be a hard like a hard time. When did you start realizing that that was actually the reality?
So this would be back, we realized that things were like there was these changes and things wouldn't be normal back in about March, April, and that we needed to make changes. So I started exploring like social media marketing. I mean, we already have a website. We were already on like Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn and stuff. And I did videos, but I never did live videos. I never really talked to other colleagues that much about marketing. I joined some groups. So that's when we really started our efforts. I mean, by April, the phone got quiet and we got nervous. And that's when I started exploring.
Okay. You kind of answered this question. This is many lawyers realized that they would have to pivot in a way that worked for them. How did you pivot and when did you start making those big changes in your law firm?
Right. We pivoted again in probably I'd say April, maybe early May, because I had a bunch of work to finish. And then I knew that there was an end to that. And, we weren't getting new clients. Our clients were used to coming to the office and they couldn't do that. It was a hard switch to get clients used to phone and video because they just like coming in. It makes it easier in some respects. So that was when we started to really look at what else we can do and make the changes. And I noticed my colleagues as well, like they also were doing the same thing at around the same time.
Okay. So many lawyers had to make changes to their marketing strategy, just like you said, you guys did as well. For example, like traditional networking basically went out the window with social distancing. So how did you change your marketing strategy?
We changed our marketing strategy by first creating one because we didn't really have one. Because we were very big on client referrals. That was our thing.
Okay.
We still are heavy on the client referrals, but like I said, those clients are used to coming in, and we also knew that we had to expand because people weren't working, they weren't making money. So you needed a wider audience. So at that point is when I learned about Facebook Lives. And that's when, honestly, one of the key like things for me since the pandemic started to really get business. People love the live videos and they're easy to do. I found like streaming software. I entered a what's it called, a group chat with other immigration attorneys across the country, and we're all like solo or small firms, and we share marketing tips and ideas, and we watch each other's lives and support each other. And I've been, I even did a Secret Santa with these girls, so it's been a really I never would have thought I'd find a group like this during a pandemic. Even though we didn't have traditional networking, we still ended up networking.
Yeah.
So I found a really solid group of girls and I don't know if you've seen on our Facebook page, I did a Facebook Live on marriage. I did that with one of the attorneys. And then I did another Facebook Live called Lawyers Without Filters, where we focus, it's a little less about law, but it's more of a focus on like female professionals and like issues they deal with. And all those girls were also in the legal marketing group. So I found a very nice community that's very supportive. And that's been a huge help because, when you go live, it's a little intimidating because, like sometimes, there are things happen and that's why people like it, because it's like real, it's authentic, but you need a little bit of motivation. And then, you have to figure out your lighting and the camera and like all these things. So it's been nice to have that community to support me.
That's great to hear, because one of the things that made us think about you was when I believe you posted some of your Facebook Lives to the Law Firm Suites web page on Facebook. And we were like, oh, okay, like they're getting their stride and trying to figure it out. So that was one of the reasons that we actually reached out to you guys, because we were like, not a lot of people are thinking of using this avenue to get their name out there and get their law firm out there. Because this year has really been about self-promoting.
Yep.
So I know you kind of already hit on this, but can you share an interesting marketing tactic you started doing since COVID to gain more clients, and has it succeeded? So from your Facebook Lives and all the things that you have been doing, have you seen that make a change in your business?
Yeah. The biggest marketing tip I can give is do the lives, do them consistently. I haven't done them in a week or so because I had foot surgery. So this is, I put makeup on the first time in 2 weeks. But essentially, if you do them, like we were doing a once a month question and answer session, which we're going to continue, and where we might do a general, but we pick a specific topic like permanent residency or naturalization or removal proceedings. And then I try to do 4 times a week in the afternoon, like what I call notable approval, which is where I talk about a case, and that can last anywhere from 3 minutes to 10 minutes. So the biggest thing you want to do is consistency. Now, the one thing I've failed at is having a consistent time every day doing it, like, so people know to tune in, and that will help us get to the next level. So at this point, the biggest things I know that I don't know if I'm cutting into another question that I know we can improve on is the consistency and better targeting our audience, which I haven't figured out yet.
Okay, that's good to know. I watch a lot of like YouTube influencers, and recently someone was posting like, what's the best time for you guys to like log in? They did a poll, and I thought that was interesting because they were like engaging with their target audience and kind of gauging like, okay, so you're more likely to log in at 4 p.m. than 12, and then they made that change. So a time of the day is really important, because especially if you're getting a big following, you want people to come in like, oh, okay, all right, Amanda's going to be on at noon. Let me get myself together.
And I'll also add to that, to not get discouraged if you only have a few viewers, because when I do not advertise in advance, there's not many people, especially since I don't have the same time every day. But it's what you do after with it. You get this video, you save it, you post it everywhere. You can boost it, pay to advertise it. And that's really where the most views come in. So it is a little discouraging at first. You see you have like 2 viewers and no comments, and you're like, all right. But again, like number one, those aren't the ones I'm doing questions and answers.
Mhm.
So if you're doing questions and answers, you want to probably advertise in advance or do it consistently. Otherwise, just know that once it finishes, your work isn't done. You have a lot more to do with it. It's a big job, but if you do it right, it'll work.
Okay. I would love to actually get some of those videos, and then we could probably highlight them on our blog as well. So then that way you're getting more exposure with what you're doing. So at the end of this, just take some time. And if you want, just email me some of those videos because we can link it and link back to Erin and yours website and, help you
Yeah,
guys out in
I
that way.
can I can pick, like, it'll tell you which are the most popular ones. I can send those over, not a problem.
Okay, great. So, what's something that you've tried during COVID, but it failed or it didn't work out the way that you planned it to?
Something I tried. Uh, I would say I'm on Instagram.
Mhm.
I started our Instagram because of COVID. I was, it's so many social media apps out there. It's a lot. And we're on LinkedIn. I stopped doing Google My Business ads. Not even the paid ones. Like, you can do posts now on Google My Business. If you're not going to pay, the competition's too big. Instagram, I would say, I don't think our audience is on Instagram. At least I haven't found our audience on Instagram. So that hasn't taken off, but it could also be because I focus more on Facebook. So I don't post everything on Instagram. It's easier to use with the computer, and Instagram, you can't use it on the computer. So I do know some attorneys who've been successful on Instagram, but I think that you have to look at who your target audience is, and that will tell you where to focus. I mean, we're on YouTube too. We do fine on YouTube, but most of our clients that come from online either found us on our website or on Facebook. So that I've just put my energy towards that, but I never found it to be worthwhile to put my energy towards Instagram or Twitter.
Okay. Do you promote your website anywhere, or is it still just like the word of mouth and you just give like a business card? Or...
I mean, it's everywhere. I mean,
Mhm.
online and everywhere that our website is. And I try to make sure that it's all clickable links so that people can easily get there. But I don't pay to promote the website in any way.
Okay. During your downtime this year, what have you done to optimize your practice in any way, or get things done that you've been putting off for a while?
During my downtime, I fixed up our forms, because in immigration, we have a lot of forms people fill out, and I've automated those forms for us with a questionnaire. So instead of writing, like, some benefits, you have to file like 6 forms. So instead of writing someone's name over and over and over, you write it once here and it fills in. But they change the forms on us all the time. So it's annoying. So I had to go back and change all the forms out. And it's hard to do, like, when I'm doing all my other work. So I had time to sit down and do that. I also had a lot of time to brainstorm and really think about how are we going to take our practice to the next level. As you know, I am excited to get an office with a window, hopefully in 2021. But basically, yeah, I mean, it was, my downtime came to learning about different ways to go about the lives, different, like, I bought a nice camera, I bought lighting, I got all different things to make the lives appear nicer, more professional. And, like, I learned about StreamYard, which is what we use to broadcast, like, to different places at once when I do the lives. So there's just like it was a big learning curve for sure. It's not hard stuff, but you just have to sit down and learn it. And I did have that opportunity because of COVID, because business quieted down for a little. But once I got the hang of it, it really did pick back up.
Okay, that's great to hear. Because the next question is actually, how has COVID-19 positively impacted your practice, or how is your practice, or how your practice was affected in your personal life?
So COVID-19, this has been a really weird year for me, I think for everybody. Like, I was supposed to get married in May and COVID killed that. I'm still getting married, but we have to wait a little longer. So, I've had a very, very up and down year for sure. But really, I would say, sorry, what was the question again? I blanked out.
It's cool. It was a, how has COVID-19 positively impacted your practice and your personal life?
Okay. So my fiance, he's a financial analyst. He also was working from home this whole time. And we live in Manhattan in, a small apartment. And actually made us closer. I know there are some couples now that are getting divorced or not getting married who were supposed to. I do divorce law, so I know that. But it gave us an appreciation for how much each other works and what we do. Because, it's different when you see it. When you see him when he's working till 11 p.m. and he's here working, and I see him sitting there and working, it's just, psychologically, it's different. So personally, I would say, despite not being able to see like friends and stuff, it has brought at least me and my fiance closer. In terms of our professional life, I would say that, it did open me up to trying new things, into pivoting. The Facebook Lives were totally going to continue going forward. It's really, like I said, opened me up to a new group of people to share ideas, and really supportive for one another. So I always like to take negatives and turn them into positives if I can. I'm an opportunist in that way. So I think that I feel confident saying that I've made the best of COVID-19 that I could for our practice. So I'm happy with that. But, going forward next year, it also puts us on a certain path where our clients are now more used to doing videos or phone calls. They don't have to come in. We get to do virtual court now, which is saves so much time. Instead of me going to court, sitting there for 3 hours to get called, I get called on time and that lasts for 15 minutes. So those changes I hope stay. And if they do, then, our practice will continue down this path. And I don't want to go back to where I have to go to the courts all the time. But, that remains to be seen, of course.
Yeah, a lot of people have said courts going virtual has been a game changer. It's been a game changer. And I don't have to deal with courts, but I've seen you guys coming in like stressed and like, oh, gotta go stand in line. So it's good to hear that that's actually, something that, has made an impact. And you've been, like you mentioned earlier, you come into the office now about 4 times a week. Mm-hmm. When you come in, how are you keeping safe? And do you feel safe overall?
So when I'm in my office, I don't wear a mask when I'm alone. Mm-hmm. We used to meet with clients in the conference room, but in our office, but now we'll only meet in the conference room. And we make them wear a mask and we wear a mask. And obviously we have the hand sanitizer. I'll say this, in March, before we shut down, I was paranoid and I was like cleaning things every day. And I was doing it at home too, but I kind of got over that. So I would say I do feel safe because otherwise I'd be doing it. I also have this little key ring where I don't have to touch the doorknobs. I don't have to touch handles. I use that for everything. So I don't have to worry about washing my hands all the time. So I feel safe. I mean, where we are in 655, it's pretty quiet. It's not where everybody else is. So, there's not as many people coming in and out. And that's the biggest thing. But if we didn't have the conference room, we'd have a problem because I've thought about getting like a plastic thing by my desk, but like it's about air circulation, and there's just no air circulation in my office. Just like it's like an 8x8 or whatever it is. So I would say overall we feel pretty safe. It would be nice to have a little more air, like natural air flowing through, but the way the building is, I don't think that's possible.
Right. Has coming into the office helped with your productivity or business development?
Has coming into the office helped with our productivity and business development? Yes and no. Like, I think I'm more productive at the office because there's no distractions. At the same time, I have to, even though I'm on the Upper East Side, it still takes me time to get back and forth to work. So the time I'm going back and forth to work, I could be spent doing other things. So when I'm home, I'm a little more productive during those hours. So I think it kind of evens itself out. In the past, when I tried to work from home before COVID, I did nothing. So I learned how to focus myself. and do it properly. But in terms of like business development, again, our clients, even with COVID, they still want to come in, and we still have to say to them, unless you need to come in, we don't need to see you. But it's hard, especially when you have clients who don't speak English, and we don't speak other languages. So we're having that language barrier. It's easier to be able to just point to something in front of you to like sign right here instead of signing box 1A. So it does, it still is a key piece of our practice that we'll never be able to completely work from home or completely be virtual.
Okay. So you have mentioned that you are meeting clients in person, and you're just taking, the proper precautions to do that. How do you gauge who do you meet in person versus who you can just handle virtually? And do you feel like you have more virtual clients than in-person clients?
Do I have more virtual clients than in person? I haven't really thought about that. Because some, you have some that they start, probably more virtual now, I think. And how do we gauge who to, who to bring in? Well, we always offer the video and the video and phone options. And if it's hard to say. It's kind of dependent on each person. There are some people that don't want to come in at all, so that makes it easy. And then there are some people where we try to do it over the phone or video, but it's just too much of a challenge, and we're just like, fine, come in. And if we're trying to explain something on the phone and they don't get it, we'll have them come in. And there are some people that are afraid to talk on the phone. We deal with a lot of domestic violence victims, for example. And they, I had a email this week where the person was like, look, I don't want to talk on the phone about this. Can I come in? And I knew why. And of course, someone like that, you're going to let them come in because of the situation. I've had other clients that are used to coming into signing applications that I've now understand how to print it and sign it and scan it. And that's because immigration started accepting photocopied signatures. They never did. So always needed the original. So they didn't want to wait the extra day to mail it. They wanted to just come in so you had it. So that made it easier too, to be able to say, look, you just have to sign this. You don't need to come in. But if it fails the first time, like the person can't sign it in the right place, or like has a million questions that, I can't answer in the email, then I might say, hey, you should come in. We'll just make this easier.
Okay. And I know it's like a personal choice.
One second, Joey. Mm-hmm. Sorry, dog was drinking too much water.
You're good.
That's something you deal with now when you're at home.
Yeah, because that's why I was like, can we please reschedule? Because if we did this yesterday with my daughter, it wouldn't have worked.
Yeah, Aaron's at home today, and I could have met with my nephews. They're 6 and 3. They're nuts.
Yeah, working from home, it was like, okay, is it nap time? Let's get really productive during these quiet hours. It's a challenge, but it's nice because you still get to be with the ones you love, and you like find that balance. Like I got so close to my kid during the quarantine. I was like, yes, this is amazing.
They love that we're home.
Yeah, I bet ours did too. But I know for people, it's a personal choice whether they come back into the office or not. But what advice would you give to someone about coming into the office on a regular basis based on your experience?
The advice I would give is you have to do what's right for you. It's going to be different for everybody. There are people, depending on the area of law you practice, depending on what your clientele is like, where they don't need to have people come in. I honestly would prefer that people don't come in, because I think that right now it's just not necessary. I do it more, I allow it more out of convenience to my clients, because I want business, and because I know there are certain struggles we can't overcome on the phone or video with those clients, and it just makes everyone's life easier. But if you don't have to have people come in, don't, because there's no reason to it. Just do it on a case-by-case basis. Mm-hmm. And then, there are certain attorneys that I know that never meet with clients face-to-face. They don't have to, and that works. But if you have certain populations like, domestic violence victims, like I said, or asylum cases that we also do, then you're looking at populations that are going to be less reluctant to want to talk on the phone. They want to meet you face to face, know that they can trust you. Some people end up going for the video option, which is good, but some people can't because they're in the home with the person. So don't be afraid, excuse me, don't be afraid to have people come in, as long as you wear your masks, have the hand sanitizer, just be smart, and you're going to be fine. I mean, knock on wood somewhere, I've not gotten COVID. No one in my family's gotten it. So, and I don't know anyone, I mean, I assume they would have told us that someone in the suite got it.
Right.
So, as far as I know, we've been doing a good job keeping safe, and you can too, but don't bring people in unnecessarily.
That makes sense. That's good advice. What are one or two things that motivated you to push forward during the pandemic?
One or two things that motivated me. I would say, I do immigration law, obviously, and our current president has been very rough on immigration law. And I know a lot of immigration lawyers, especially when the courts close, that either had to give up or just wanted to give up. So part of my motivation was like, these people need lawyers. They need lawyers who care and are going to work hard. Those people are still out there, even though their courts are being postponed, they still have court. So I need to be there to help people, especially. And also just like my oh God, I need a drink of water. I have one. Duh. Sorry.
Go ahead.
So I'm saying with the live, you just gotta roll with it. But just my overall drive to succeed and do well, that hadn't changed. It was just about refocusing that drive and really just opening myself up to trying different things.
Okay, that's a good way of putting it. You can see your passion for immigration law. I'm also curious to know how you stayed in touch with or leaned on your attorney colleagues during the pandemic, outside of law firm suites and inside of law firm suites.
Sure. So inside of law firm suites, we've always had a great community. There are some attorneys that we've known for a decade now, that we will refer cases to, like Bob Washuda. He's a good example. He's been there since I've been there. He does personal injury. We get inquiries for personal injury, or a client has an issue, we send to him. He'll send us any immigration stuff. And that continued just as normal throughout the pandemic. And then, like I mentioned earlier, in terms of colleagues outside of LFIS, I never had a community. Like, I knew some attorneys, but I wasn't a huge networker. I joined AILA, the American Immigration Lawyers Association, which I had I don't know if I felt the need to join before. So that opened me up to more people too. But I found a community of 10 female attorneys that all do the immigration law, and having that's what's really been, I think, kind of the game changer for me, because whenever I was feeling kind of like either a little hesitant or lacking confidence in doing something or frustrated with results, I would talk about it with them, and either I'd see, look, they're having the same problems, or they're having the same problems and now they're not, or they'd give me a tip, and it's really helped me get through some of that hard times.
That's so good to hear, though, that even though, like, because of social distancing, you couldn't like get with people, you were still able to get with people. Yeah. And I feel like a lot of attorneys and just a lot of people in general felt really alone and isolated during the pandemic. So hearing that you were able to kind of step outside your norm and outside your box to reach out to other people is really, like, I don't know, it's like tickling to hear. Like, I'm happy for you.
We even did Secret Santa with each other.
Yeah, let's see, you build bonds. Like, that's amazing to hear. Amazing. Can you share a funny or interesting anecdote that happened in 2020?
With regards to business?
Business, personal, it doesn't matter.
Funny anecdote. Ooh, I have to think about that one. Funny anecdote. I'm sure I have. Can we come back to that one?
Yeah, we can. The next one is, what is your outlook on 2021? So it's like the end of the year, you're planning your goals. What do they look like?
It's very positive. I feel very strongly that in 2021, we're going to have to hire somebody because we're going to get to a point where we can't handle it all ourselves. We're going to continue to grow. I'm trying now to learn more about analyzing our results on social media. So not just putting money towards something, seeing how it does and then moving on, but seeing how it does and why it did that and how I can improve it. So that's kind of like the next step. I'm getting into that. And I actually think if I'm targeting right, it will be a huge difference. So I only see good things coming. You know, the immigration courts will open back up again here eventually. So we don't know what that's going to look like, to be honest. It's a little scary. They're going to be closed now since March, and they were a mess before March. And I'm really, fingers crossed, hoping that the New York courts get more virtual court capabilities so that we can continue it, because, you know, again, like, it's just such a difference when you get called on time and you don't have to sit there and wait and you can devote yourself to other things. I mean, the 3 hours that I'm sitting in court, I can't sit there really and do work. It's hard. So I think if those things can stay the same, that will be positive. But overall, I think we're just going to continue to grow and build on what we have started here in 2020.
That's good to hear that you guys have a positive outlook. We've had a couple of attorneys who like you guys have like changed the way they've done things during 2020 and have grown, and they've moved offices like within law firm suites and have expanded. And it's like, wow, okay, you guys are really pushing forward. So I'm interested to see how their 2021 pans out. And I'm really happy to hear that you guys have a positive outlook for year 2021. So that's good to hear. This has been a really good call, Amanda, and I really appreciate you doing it with me.
I got your funny anecdote. Well,
okay.
But it's something. So, you know, we have our therapy dog, Goldie, that Aaron was bringing every day. And so when they adopted her as a puppy, literally from like day one, she was coming to the office every single day and seeing me. And then when the pandemic hit, I went like a couple of months without seeing her. And the first time I saw her, she got so excited. She knocked me over, like was kissing me. And it honestly, like, it made my heart grow like 3 sizes. Like, it was so adorable. And now whenever what's crazy is when she finally came back to the office, she was completely normal and calm. Like, she knows that this is the office. I gotta be normal. But when I go to their house, she goes nuts. And it's really heartwarming, like, for me, because I love dogs. But I guess that's my little funny anecdote.
It's a nice one. I love seeing the dog in the space. Because every time I see Aaron with her, I'm just like, oh my God, it's a doggy.
He's the perfect therapy dog.
Well, those are all the questions I have, Amanda. I told you it wasn't going to be a long call.
Yeah. It's better Aaron wasn't here because I've been doing this stuff anyway. He hasn't.
Yeah, because I figured, I was like, I mostly see Amanda on the lives, and, you know, I wonder, but I just kind of figured he would show up in his hat and be like, oh, Aaron in his cowboy hat.
Yeah.
But I'm going to let you go. But I just want to say again, thank you so much for taking the time out to do this interview. I really, really appreciate it.
Thank